Yes, mates, how's it going? My name's Lee, and welcome back to the FPL Punk YouTube channel, where we try to dominate FPL one game week at a time. So first of all, we'll do a quick recap of my game week 14 performance, and quickly turn our attention to my game week 15 team selection. The deadlines are coming thick and fast this time of year, so make sure you're ready for all of them. If you enjoy FPL content, please subscribe to the channel. Anyway, let's rock and roll.
Be strong.
So this is my game week 14 review. In the bottom right hand corner is some information. My rank dropped to about 700k, so a very small red arrow of about 20,000 places. I took a -4, made 3 transfers. I did Kabore to Saliba, which was funded by Bowen to Palmer, and then I went Watkins with the late injury news to Alexander Isak. You can see I got quite a lot of blanks. Areola, Saliba, Ben White, Palmer, Alexander Isak all blanked. However, the likes of Trippier and Gordon came through big time for me. I slightly got the captain right in terms of the Haaland Salah debate. He got a couple more points, and it's just one of those. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I told everyone to keep Heung-min Son, and if people sold him, you need to try and think how you're going to get him back. And this is the reason why I didn't sell him in the first place, is because if you do sell him, how are you going to get him back? One of the major things I was kind of playing about with last minute was actually starting Charlie Taylor, and I've got him second on the bench there. I tried to make a last minute change, making first on the bench. It didn't make a difference in the end, but I came very close between Charlie Taylor and Ben White with the late injury scare to Ben White. But I thought Ben White was going to start and play 60 minutes and then come off, and Tomiyasu was going to come on. Obviously, he went the other way around. Tomiyasu might look like that he might have picked up an injury. So hopefully Ben White does start the next game, but I feel like Taylor was definitely some missed points, and obviously Watkins went off big. I had to go off the information that I currently had, and Watkins in my head was currently injured and he wasn't going to play. And it seemed like a very easy move to get to Isak, who's got a nice run of games now. But also, it looks like Callum Wilson might be back sooner than we think, and one of those where I might have got that one wrong. Is what it is. Let's move on to the game week 15 team selection. Right, mates, first up we've got the goalkeeper and the defence, and I've opted for Areola in goal away to Spurs. Obviously, Matt Turner's been dropped. No point really talking about him anymore. Areola, I heard something the other day where he's only scored something like 11 points less than the top scoring goalkeeper. Goalkeepers aren't really scoring points, they're not keeping a lot of clean sheets, and the goalkeepers that are keeping clean sheets, and like someone like Nick Pope, either getting 2 points or 6 points a game, like they're not really getting involved in the bonus. Not someone like David Raya last year, who was getting save points, he was getting bonus points, very regular. So it doesn't really matter who your goalkeeper is right now. I don't think it's worth making a goalkeeper transfer. I know Nick Pope might be injured, and if you've got a major crisis in your goalkeeping area, I don't mind going for someone like a Dubravka. Onto the Arsenal defence, I expect both of them to start, but I expect Ben White to start every single game, and it just doesn't seem to start any of them. But it looked like Tomiyasu did pick up an injury, so I'm hoping Ben White does come in for Tomiyasu. But away to Luton, it's a really good game for Arsenal. I think they'll control the game. I'm just hoping for no lapse of concentration late on in the game, similar to how they did against Wolves. Comfortable at 2-0, and then they concede a chance, and then it goes to 2-1. I just hope they don't do anything like that. I'm still fairly happy with my double Arsenal defence. I might move one of them on. Probably going to be Ben White to a Chelsea defender potentially. I might hold off another week and try and get someone like a Reece James. But that's kind of where I'm thinking right now. I don't think it's worth it, particularly now. Especially Arsenal got some decent home games coming up. Even if they are against the harder teams, I still think they're capable of keeping clean sheets in any single game. They are the best defence. They have kept the most clean sheets, so sometimes you need to trust the process and just trust that they're going to keep more clean sheets. Kieran Trippier away to Everton. Everton are just a weird team. They just concede a lot of chances, create a lot of chances. At the games are just a little bit mad all the time. So I'm not really confident of Newcastle keeping a clean sheet here, especially because it's at Goodison away for Newcastle. If this was Everton at home, this would be a clean sheet Everton and like Newcastle clean sheet bank on like potential Trippier captain kind of situation, but it's not. It's away. It'll be a tough game. And yeah, I think Everton will score. But Trippier does what Trippier does. He's an absolute machine. He got 12 points last week, and he just keeps racking up the points. He's just like a machine over and over again. I've got no issues with my defence this week. I've probably got no issues with my defence for the next couple of weeks. Assuming that Trippier doesn't get booked this week, then I'll just keep playing him. Trippier is on 4 yellow cards, so if you haven't got Trippier, I don't recommend bringing him in this week. because if he does get booked, obviously he misses the next game. That resets in game week 19, or once a team has played 19 games. So the likes of Brentford and Man City, their yellow cards will reset in game week 20. What do you think of my defence so far? Would you start anyone from the bench like a Mark Gahey? He's currently my first sub, and there is a potential of him starting. I just think Bournemouth are playing a little bit better. What do you think of my defence so far? Leave a comment down below. Moving on to the midfield, and first up, Anthony Gordon, the gift that keeps on giving. He's just in good form. I've said it for weeks and weeks, and he just keeps turning up. And as long as Barnes is on the sidelines and his doubts around him, I'm just going to keep playing Anthony Gordon straight up. He's cheap as chips. He's a bit like this year's Almiron, where he just keeps plugging away with these points, scoring big goals against big teams. 10-pointer this week. Really happy with him. And Newcastle just got a great run of games now. I think he'll terrorise Everton. I think he might get a couple of returns. And I'm just really happy playing him right now. If you don't have someone like Anthony Gordon, I don't hate going from any player down to a Gordon. Like if you want to fund something else, I think he's a better option than Palmer personally. I know I've got Palmer next to him. Palmer was brought in as my first sub in future weeks, and just to give me more funds and be able to shuffle things around. But Anthony Gordon, really electric, really sharp, and I feel like he's had a couple of things to his game this season that I didn't know he was capable of. So great pick up, really happy with him, and I think it caused Everton some problems this week. And nicely moving on to Cole Palmer. He obviously came on a little bit late and missed that penalty. And Enzo Fernandez took it instead. Obviously, Palmer comes on that minute before. He ends up getting the pen. One of those, you win some, you lose some. I think if Chelsea don't get the red card, Palmer doesn't even come on as a sub. And I get my first sub, which would have been Archer for 1 point anyway, so it makes no difference. United, we're just not... I know it's at Old Trafford and we're a better team at home ever so slightly. We just things aren't clicking properly. I think he needs to drop a couple of players as much it pains me. I'd probably drop Rashford and I'd play Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund and Antony as the front three is who I would play up against Chelsea. I'd drop Rashford, just give him a break, just take him out the limelight and for one game, see how he copes, or even bring him on as a sub. We did that a couple of times last season and come on as a sub and just rip teams apart. So something needs to be done with him. Like I don't know what's going on. There might be something personal, and is what it is. Sometimes people have got issues going on and just need to accept them sometimes. But on to Cole Palmer himself. Never been overly impressed with him. He just seems to keep getting these returns, even though it is penalties. But he's really, really cheap, which I really like. And like I said, he will be my first sub moving forward. And in Chelsea's easy games, particularly at home, I will bring Palmer in. So if you do want to downgrade someone and you can't quite get to Gordon, I still don't hate going to Cole Palmer. I still think he's on penalties when he's starting, but it looks like Nkunku might be back. And I expect Nkunku to come in and take the penalties off Palmer. On to a team that hasn't had a penalty so far, and I think Son would be the penalty taker if they did get one. I expected him to play well against City. He did play well against City. I didn't expect the game to be 3-3. I thought it'd be more something like 4-2 City or 5-2 City, where Son might get a return or two, and then Man City just slowly plug along and end up scoring a few more goals instead. Whereas it ended up being like a really end-to-end and a fair bit of control in the middle of the game. I don't think City were great. I thought defensively they were quite poor. I thought Haaland was poor for most of the game. Obviously the referee has an absolute shock at the end of the game when Haaland plays Grealish through. Just welcome to the rest of the league where decisions don't always go your way. It's just one of those, isn't it? But home to West Ham, I think it'll be a really difficult game for Spurs. But I just can't sell Son. Like, you've got a midfielder who's basically playing number 9. Like, it's almost like playing with an extra forward in your team who gets a points for clean sheets and he gets an extra point for goals. I just don't see a reason to sell Son at any point this season until he goes away for the Asia Cup, which is the same time as AFCON. So Son's in my team for the foreseeable, and I will only sell him when, like I said, when he does go away for the Asia Cup. Great fixture for him. Hopefully he gets a penalty at some point, and I think if Son gets a penalty within the start of the season until now, when most teams are maybe getting 2 or 3 pens, if Son gets those penalties, like he's probably the highest scoring player in the game. But he takes all the bonus in all the games he does take the pen. So watch the space. All it takes is for Spurs to get a couple of penalties, and Son's going to be absolutely fine. If you sold Son, I think you need to figure out how you're going to get Son back. I know they don't have the best run of fixtures now, but they have got some really nice games coming up, and I think you're going to want Son back, straight up. Brian and Bumo, he only got the assist, so he only got 5 points. I watched the Above Average FPL podcast last night, and they were talking about Brentford versus Luton, and Brentford basically did everything you wanted them to do. They racked up a lot of XG. They got something like 3 XG. Only conceded something like 0.24 XG. Did everything that you wanted them to. Just Mbumo didn't do what we all expected him to do. Just one of those. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. It's a recurring theme. It is what it is. Some you win, some you lose. I don't think we particularly lost this one because he still got the return. Like, he still got the 5 points. It just could have been so much more. Especially if there was a penalty involved, and Bumo obviously takes it and he gets his monster haul. One of those is what it is. I'm happy with him in my team up until AFCON. He'll be there. I've got no issues keeping him. He's really cheap, 7 mil. I think his price will continue to rise up until AFCON, and then we need to try and figure out how we are going to take him out. Another player going away to AFCON is obviously Salah, and a very, very strong captaincy consideration. I know it's away to Sheffield United, but Burnley just dismantled them, battered them 5-0. If Liverpool beat them 5-0, 6-0, whatever, I expect Salah to have at least 2 goal returns. And because of that, he is a strong consideration for captaincy. Like, he just has to be. Like, I've said it all season long, things just aren't quite clicking for Salah this season. And I don't know the reason for that. I mean, he's probably tactically, and he's been pushed quite far out wide. But no matter what system Liverpool do play and what personnel Liverpool play with, I think all of it suits Salah, with its Darwin up front and Salah's creating the chances. Then he's racking up the BPS. If he's playing anyone else, he's feeding him through. I think Trent playing well is better for Salah. I think everything pushes towards Salah playing better. So, strong consideration against Sheffield United away. I can see a penalty in that game as well, so I can maybe see 3 goal returns. It's just got Salah captain all over it. If you are considering captain Salah this week, leave a comment down below. On to my forwards. First up, Alexander Isak, and similar to Trippier and Gordon, I just think it's a really good game. My only concern is that we don't know how far away Callum Wilson was. When I made the transfer last week, at the Game Week 14 deadline, like to all my knowledge, Callum Wilson was out for weeks and weeks. And I think the FPL website had him either 0% or 25% chance to play. I thought he was going to be maybe 3 or 4 weeks away, but I think he's going to be back sooner than we think. If I can get a nice run of games from Isak, I'll be really happy with that. Away to Everton, I think it's going to be a difficult game, but I think there'll be goals in that game. And because of that, Isak's on penalties. If you can kind of do the reverse of what Watkins did this week, so if Watkins blanks and Isak gets the 11-pointer, kind of evens out, I can make me feel a little bit better. So I'll take that all day long. Haaland away to Villa. We all know Villa have a strong home team, and because of that, that's the reason why I've gone for Salah captaincy. Otherwise, I would just keep it on Haaland. And he missed quite a few big chances against Spurs. I mean, like, City could have absolutely battered Spurs in that first half and scored 4 or 5 goals, and then it's basically game over. But he didn't. He missed a few. There has been games this season where he hasn't quite looked. He hasn't looked 100% right, in my opinion. But I think this will be a tough game. Villa do play a high line. I think they will play a high line at home. Maybe City can exploit that over the top and keep chipping through balls from him. We'll just see how that one goes. But for me right now, my preferred captain pick is on Mo Salah. Right, mates, that's it for today's video. So we did a quick review of my Game Week 14 performance and then swiftly moved on to my team selection for Game Week 15. I don't have too many fires to put out, and I'm trying to save this transfer and try and roll it for next week when I do think there'll be potential news. Particularly with the Haaland putting that tweet out where he might get a 1, 2, 3 game ban. So we'll see how that kind of works out. And if that's the case, I'm going to want my transfers. So I'm going to save my transfer, roll it. The only thing that I need to kind of weigh up is whether I want to start Cole Palmer or Mark Gahey. I think Bournemouth are playing well. It's obviously away to Man United for Palmer. It's a bit of a 50-50. I'll probably get it wrong, so whichever one I do, you go the opposite. But if you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, all the usual jazz. Have a good day, peace and love.